Let me get your thoughts closer to home in the UK. We had a big fight featuring one of your former opponents in the form of Conor Benn getting revenge over Chris Eubank Jr. If at all, what did Conor Benn do differently to get the victory over Eubank Jr. the second time round?
Oh, he made the adjustments he needed to. He fought a disciplined fight. He didn't fight discipline at all the first fight, and this fight he worked behind the jab. He was using stutter jabs. He was using feints. He was using an in and out movement. He fought Eubank like Eubank was the bigger man. And the first time they fought, he fought him like he was just gonna knock his head off, and he paid for that. But also Eubank was stuck in the mud. He had nothing for him that night. He looked shot. I don't know if he left it in the gym, he overtrained, if it was the weight, if it was where he is in his career. 36 is 36. So at this stage of the career of both of these guys, we got to see Conor Benn with a guy under 35 because all of his best wins are against the guys over 35 years old. It would be nice to see him in his weight class, whatever that may be, whether it's 54 or 47. And Chris Eubank, it's unfortunate for him because he lost a big opportunity because I think with a win there, he had a real shot at getting the Canelo fight. Now that's out the window. But regardless, he made a lot of money. Never won a world title, but had a good career. Got a lot of attention. Made tons of cash. Respectable, very respectable career. If he wants to continue on, which seems like he does, but I don't think we're going to see him at 60 anymore. I think he'll be campaigning at 68 moving forward.
Is it the type of performance that puts Conor Benn now at world level? He's calling for Devin Haney, he's calling for Ryan Garcia, he's calling for Gervonta Davis as well too. Is it the type of performance that puts him in that bracket?
It puts him in the bracket because he's a money earner. In terms of world class skills, it's still not. It's still up in the air because he hasn't fought a young guy in the weight class that he's actually going to be rated at. But in terms of being able to call some of the shots because he is a money guy, yes, absolutely. He's certainly he's put butts in seats 2 times in a row now. Yes, it's been domestic. It's been over in the UK. Can he do it elsewhere? That's a question. But there's still the idea that there's a bag to be garnered by fighting Conor Benn. So that's a really important thing to have in this sport, and Conor's got that now.
Do you think he's more likely to go for a Manny Pacquiao who he had a face-off with as opposed to search for a world title?
I mean, yeah, I mean, you're seeing that more and more. Guys would much rather go for the money than for the actual competition. Nobody wants the tough fights anymore. They want the money fights, and that's why we see guys like Gervonta Davis going to fight Jake Paul. You have good opposition all around you, like a guy like Gervonta Davis. How many undefeated lightweight champions are there that he could have fought that could have been mega fights, but instead he chooses to go fight Jake Paul? In fact, he had a rematch with Lamont Roach and chose not to do that, instead fight Jake Paul. So, more and more you're seeing fighters that don't care as much about legacy and care more about the bucks that are involved. And anyone who fights Manny Pacquiao, there's a lot of money. Even at this stage, there's a lot of money involved.
Glad you mentioned Jake Paul. I wonder if you're doing a live watch along for this on ppv.com like you will be for Roach versus Pitbull Cruz. That is Anthony Joshua taking on Jake Paul. I was in Miami for the press conference for it. Couldn't quite believe my eyes that I was first of all seeing this and then the disparity between the two of them. But we're led to believe this is a real fight. It's a real sanctioned fight. What happens in a real sanctioned fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul?
I mean, I still don't even know if it's going to happen. I know they're pushing it like it is, but
Everyone
I
seems to be
can't.
saying that.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around the fact that they're going to be in the ring together and actually putting on boxing gloves trying to hurt each other. It doesn't compute in my skull. But listen, if it happens, it happens. Boxing is the wild west. Anything can happen, and especially with Jake Paul and his money and his ability to make things happen, it's very possible. But I don't see how this fight ever makes it out of the first round. And if it does, then comes into question of, is this a real fight? I mean, have the rules set come out yet? Have we heard whether or not Anthony Joshua has to wear, his boots on the wrong feet if he can't throw his right hand, if he has to be, set up to a shock shock therapy if he throws punches? Is there anything said yet, or is this a real fight? Do we know?
8 rounds, 10 ounce gloves, 3 minutes.
And it's a real sanctioned fight.
I believe so.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, again, if that goes down, I don't see how Jake Paul makes it very long. I mean, we're talking about Anthony Joshua. I keep seeing Francis Ngannou getting decapitated over and over and over again in my head when you talk about him fighting. The guy is still super dangerous. He, punches like a mule kick, and he's an Olympic gold medalist. Tons of experience. So, from what I've seen at the press conferences, Joshua is very jovial.
Hmm.
which kind of throws me off about what this actually is. Is he just happy because he's making a lot of money? Is he just happy because he thinks this is a very easy fight? I would rather see a guy more stern, especially with a fight right around the corner. It's a very short turnaround for the fight. So maybe Jake Paul's crazy like a fox. Maybe he's got a guy who thinks that this is going to be really, really easy. I do know that Anthony Joshua's coming off an elbow injury. I don't know. So Jake Paul's not dumb. Jake Paul's not dumb. So I'm curious to see, first of all, if this happens. And if it does happen, I'll be tuned in.
We have two different perspectives over in the UK. One, obviously, of course, regarding Joshua and his successes. The other side being the American side. When I've spoken to American fighters, whether it would be fighters or public, they have another perception of Anthony Joshua, and that is that he's quote unquote chinny. He can be got at, and that he's weak whenever he's been tagged on the chin. First of all, is that your perception of him, Chris? And second of all, does Jake Paul have the skill and execution and the power to land that big shot to put Joshua's lights out?
No, my perception of Anthony Joshua is not that. I do not share my countrymen's thought because I am not a boxing pundit for the USA. I'm a boxing pundit for the world, and I understand everyone who fights in the sport. And I understand the sport. Anthony Joshua is a fantastic fighter, and this is it's unfortunate that the American audiences think that. But also, if you do think that, you still got to put the glove on the guy's chin. If his chin is weak, you still got to get it there. And last time we saw Jake Paul, he fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. and he couldn't make him blink with a punch. So what? I don't know how they figure this out. That oh, he's just got to hit him. Okay, well, first of all, he's got to hit him. Second of all, if he does, is his chin that weak? Is the guy? I mean, is it just going to turn him off? No, that's not the way it works. He couldn't hurt a much smaller, washed up guy, and now he's going to fight Anthony Joshua, who's much closer to his prime, much bigger. So even if he does land the punch, which again is going to be difficult to do, is it enough to knock him out? Is it enough to hurt him? Let alone knock him out. He's got to hurt him. He's got to hurt him and finish him. We've seen Anthony Joshua hurt and then come back and knock you out. So there's that as well. I don't know. So it's an interesting discussion, but the people who are knocking Anthony Joshua, I think, are silly.
Here's a question I envisage you might get on the live watch along on ppv.com. You might get from the viewers tuning in to say, Chris, would you take the fight if Jake Paul offered you millions and millions? Would you get in the opposite corner to him and have that opportunity?
No,
Mm.
no, it's a
You're,
sideshow.
you're probably the
I
first fighter to say that.
Yeah, because first of all, I had a real career, and I respect the sport, and um, you're not just gonna pay me, so use me to come in there and go put this fight together. I'm not an active fighter. I haven't been for almost 5 years. To come off the couch just because of an opportunity, because there's a lot of money thrown at me. Listen, again, I respect what I've done in my career. Listen, if we were in my career and I was fighting and training and that came up and there was a reason for it, that's a whole different thing. Even Anthony Joshua, I don't knock Anthony Joshua at all for this. He's coming off of a loss. He's coming off of an elbow injury, and he's looking to get back in. This is a perfect get back fight. 8 rounder, and I get to make a ton of money. Makes total sense.
Lastly, in bringing this back to Pitbull and Lamont Roach, a lot on the line in the fight, not only for the interim title, but also the potential that both fighters might want another shot at Gervonta Davis. Do you think that's something they want? Do you think that's something they should go for, given Gervonta Davis's maybe reliability and status in the sport right now?
Wait, say that again. What was the question?
Well, obviously, a lot on the line in terms of the fight between Pitbull Cruz and Lamont Roach interim title, but also the potential of getting Gervonta Davis back in the ring for that second bout between the both of them. Is that something that you think they both should go for, given Gervonta Davis's current status and maybe reliability to get in the ring right now?
Yeah, sorry, I had to ask again because I think it's so ridiculous to think about Gervonta Davis fighting again. I don't think the guy wants to fight. He doesn't want to fight. I don't think he wants to fight anybody. He had an opportunity to right some wrongs with the rematch with Roach, and he chose to fight Anthony Joshua, and then he tanked that himself by acting the way he's acting. It just shows you the man does not want to fight. So I don't think that either one of these guys should be holding their breath for Gervonta Davis. They should push forward with their careers, and they have very bright futures ahead of themselves without Gervonta Davis. So they shouldn't be worrying about that.
Okay, Chris, always an insightful chat. Can't wait to see the fights materialize and also check in on the watch along ppv.com, of course, December 6th for Pitbull Cruz versus Lamont Roach. Thanks again for your time.
Absolutely, always a pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine. Appreciate it.